is Pharma exactly all relevant to everybody else here? I know we're talking about, we had Mitsubishi and Hyundai. We just talked to General Mills. Tom, you saying that creative integrated with media, that makes my former creative director heart so happy. It is so critical, particularly in trying to reach any audience. There's so much continuity between a lot of the stories that I've heard over those last couple of days to what we do. Everybody's trying to reach an audience. Everybody's trying to reach their potential customer, and making sure that they hear all of your story. And so much of the best way to do that is through video. We have such an opportunity today to reach who we need to talk to at the various different stages of their discovery, their consideration, and their decision of whether or not to work with your brand. Like, that's what they're doing. They're choosing to purchase your product or use your service. It's all about bringing them along with the journey with you, and seeing how that goes. So video everywhere all at once. So who am I? I said I'm a former agency creative. My path to pharmaceutical brand has not been a typical one or a linear one. I've worked on over a dozen different categories and over 24 different brands, ranging everything from high technical things like oncology and hospital IV antibiotics to Tylenol. I've talked to, my audience has been physicians, my audience has been customers, and patients. But everything comes together through storytelling. It's the stories that we build to reach those people that we're trying to and engage with them throughout. So what I'm going to walk you through today is a new launch that we recently had. This is in a healthcare space where there's a number of different challenges. First of all, it's a crowded marketplace. We have at least 4 to 5 different competitors during our launch time period that are very, very active in media and spend a lot of money. There's more competitors every year in the pharma space, and we have the regulations, in particular with linear, that we can only have 1 ad per block. So there's limited inventory, so we need to make sure that we're in those places that we need to be. Like I said, it's a high spend category. All of our competitors, we know that over this last year, at least one of our competitors has been in the top TV pharma spend every single month, sometimes 2 in a month. Now, I don't say that to say pharma has a lot of money, but there's a lot of noise created. There's a lot of voices talking, trying to talk to those same people. So understanding how you stand out and what you need to say is super, super important. I mentioned we were a launch brand. So coming into this year, we had very low awareness. We were only approved by the FDA in the middle of 2021. We weren't even available until Q4 of that year. We only started our consumer marketing efforts Q4 of last year. So we had an uphill battle to climb in this crowded, loud, busy market. So it wasn't an easy situation to step into. One thing that we started doing was we wanted to leverage those audience insights, understanding who it was that we were trying to talk to. Because you can look at your demos and everything, but what are they doing? So looking at, there's more and more screens going on. People aren't just watching TV. They're watching their tablets. They're watching their phones. They're scrolling through while they're doing other things. And reaching them across those devices is so critical. One of those things that we're constantly on, social media, one of our favorite things, I think, these days. Whatever platform you're on, whether it's a Meta platform or Snapchat or TikTok even, everybody's there, and there's so much video in there. It's great storytelling, and you don't even need to see what you're seeing, you don't even have to hear video, excuse me. I think, Eric from Hyundai talking yesterday about the multicultural. I don't speak another language. But even watching those videos, I had a feeling from that. I understood what they were going through, what that experience was. Now, it wasn't necessarily related to my experience, but I could see how that audience would be compelled to engage. And then finally, the increase in searches. Because we have our phones so close to us at all points in times, we know people are just picking it up, whether you're like, who's that actor? I thought I saw him on another show, and you're looking up their IMDb to find out what you know them from. Or you see a brand, or you see some mention of something. You're Googling while you're sitting there. Everybody's active. We don't do one thing at a time these days. We're too busy. So understanding the behavior of who it is you're trying to talk to is so important. So what we really wanted to do was to see what those connection points were and to be able to reach them throughout their day. Now, first thing in the morning, how many people have their phone by their bedside and they're looking at Instagram, they're looking at Facebook, they're looking maybe at the weather app to see what they need to wear to work that day, what the traffic's like, how long is their commute gonna be? Phones are right by. You're using your phones or your tablets or something to kind of give you a break in the day, a mental break, because we're so busy. We want something to give us a little bit of a smile anytime. You know what, that was a tough meeting. Before lunch, let me just check on this other thing. Or we're on our devices all the time, whether we're working, maybe we need to check on something, check our email, go to another site, check the sports scores from the night before, be very sad about baseball maybe not going the way you wanted it to. But it's always there and you're always connected. In the evening, like I said, second screening, having your phone there, getting to scroll, seeing what's going on. Or even late at night when you're doom scrolling a little bit before you're sleeping and you just can't put it down. I think we've all been there at one time or another. But those are all opportunities. Now, these aren't opportunities you want to hit every single day, but they're opportunities nonetheless. And being aware of where we're seeing this is so important. And how we did this at Alkermes was we wanted to take those audience insights, take those channel insights, taking the thought of creative and making sure that it's compelling and important and relating to who our audience was. We built our base around our television spot. It's a 60-second spot when we really wanted to drive our brand awareness because awareness was such the problem for a new brand. Being there in that space with our competitors gave us the broad reach to be able to start to bring up that awareness. Understanding how much social is important. Here we expanded into multiple different lengths using a test and learn strategy to really understand, was it the shorter form videos, was it the longer form videos that really needed to pull that story through? Because with the 60-second spot, no brand can tell their full story. You might get a glimpse of it, you might understand a few things, but really being able to utilize different lengths of creatives, addressing different points of your funnel, and having those work together are so important because you don't need to say it all in one piece, but you do need to say it all. And knowing where to say that is so important. We were really using social to be able to drive that action to the website, to be able to provide that additional information. And then finally, Ollie and CTV, where we could utilize those same multiple lengths, continue to tell our story, but even broaden it a little bit deeper so that we can get into some of those key information drivers that will entice people to learn even more about your brand. For pharma, it's copay, but for other brands, is it a discount? Is it a coupon? Is it something else that will help that consideration and have that audience member take that a step further? Where we wanted to go with this is we increased our reach and frequency, coupling the TV and the CTV elements, really understanding that you're not reaching the same people. I think there were some great conversations when we were talking about the strike in the roundtable yesterday, how there's cord cutters, there's stackers, and people are migrating around. So you're not reaching the same people at the same place. So it's so important to be in multiple places and understanding how those work together. And then with your paid social, coupling your TV, mixing those assets, we understand that it's 80% more effective at driving the consideration. So having that audience member see your message repeatedly across all of these different channels increase their likelihood to engage with our brand. And I think everybody's most talked about topic and probably least favorite topic with data and measurement I mean, I can't do anything with if I don't have a KPI or some performance indicator tying back to my business. I need to be able to explain to my leadership what this is going to do. Not only what that is half the time, but what it's going to do, why it needs to be part of the mix of what we're doing. So having that measurement in place ahead of time and that plan has been key in understanding how much of that data we can trust. Bringing on our individual team members, not only within our marketing teams, but across the organization with our analytics teams and our finance teams even at this point, everybody's integrated into these decisions. So really what we did was we looked at our leading and lagging metrics, those media KPIs that we can understand and know immediately once something's been in market, And then with the lagging, campaign results tying to our business outcomes. So we know if it's doing well initially, we track it, we optimize, and then we can report later. Everybody knows this. We really worked very hard to centralize our dashboard, so integrations between our agencies so that not only our creative agency, our media agency, our measurement agency, everybody was playing nice in the sandbox as we were talking about with Luxottica yesterday, or the day before. That integration helps us be able to elevate everything. So if we're seeing a piece of creative performing better in social, that can impact where we're driving our audience member onto the website. And having all of that information close at hand helps facilitate those decisions. And then early indicators of success, that search volume, knowing who's doing the Googling, who's clicking through initially right after viewing the spot or integrating with our brand. The video views, tracking where those are coming from, and then always looking at our site traffic. So how did this all do? You want to see what worked, what didn't work. HCPs are customers and view TV too. HCPs, healthcare providers. In what we were talking, I was saying, the TV with Hyundai and Mitsubishi. The conversion window is quite similar to pharma. You have an intermediary that you need to visit and you need to talk to. Now, a dealership might not have nearly as much power or decision-making over whether or not you engage with that product, but that is that other person where your real true customer is viewing your ad, is integrating, or is engaging with your brand, whether it's on social, whether it's on your website, then they're going to a third person to help in that decision-making process. So understanding how TV was able to reach that HCP audience was really important. That was over a 60% lift, understanding that 5 minutes after our TV spot viewed, those HCPs were going to the website. The lift was even greater in consumers. We saw over a 70% lift within the 5 minutes, understanding that this was the critical time period for them to take action on the brand. And then tracking our branded search terms and our brand-related terms. It was an 80% quarter-over-quarter increase where, whether it's brand disease state or brand pushback or whatever the term that they were searching, there was a significant lift here. And what that completely resulted in moving forward was a 2x reach to our audience from our initial launch period where it was digital only. And we were able to do this while maintaining efficiency of spend. So where that balance between those channels and where we chose to be and when we chose to be was able to keep it at a point where we grew our audience while being mindful of what that cost was coming to. So what we really learned here, and we knew, and as a former creative, I definitely knew, creative and media partnerships are so critical, making sure you have those people at the table that need to make those decisions. I know we heard it yesterday when we were talking that you wanted your creative director there, you wanted your media person there, you wanted your strategist there. Having everybody at that table at that kickoff was monumental in being able to align our plan overall, making sure that we're reaching our audience when we needed to reach them, how we needed to reach them, with what message, in what kind of compelling creative that worked in that channel. Making sure once you have that integration and your amplification, you're continually looking to make sure how it works better together. amplifying where you can, optimizing, making it so that what you have works to the best of its ability, and leaning into those areas where you're seeing initial results. And then finally, that measurement part where our centralized integrations into both our internal metrics as well as the metrics across all of our partners, being able to have that at hand and easily communicatable to our audiences was really the final linchpin in everything working together to give us those great 2x results on our reach. And that's what I have for you today.
All right, Sarah, great, everyone. Awesome.
Thank you.
Do we have any questions? Well, of course I do. Because I'm just curious in terms of, because you talked about how much success you had with linear, but do you feel like then that's where you're going to invest more, or how, from these learnings, is it still this, like you still think you need the rest of the channels, what you did with social media, in order to continue that kind of success?
Well, it's really about the push-pull, and understanding. I know we were talking, there was some talk about the media funnel and everything. Linear is great for that broad awareness. We're a product, as it's not as easy as just going and purchasing it off your supermarket shelves. It's a longer decision process. There's more information involved. It's a very committed decision. And patients today are more and more educated and activated to be advocates for their own care. So just having the awareness of TV isn't enough. We really need to make sure that we're in those other channels to be able to share the key points of the story that they need to understand, whether it's about their own individual insurance coverage, what can be provided in terms of copay assistance. There's other tools available that can help them in their conversations with their healthcare provider, and really understanding that all of that contributes to the overall story.
Well, and so when you're finding, as you said, it's the awareness, and then you want to, is your goal then to get them to your site to then hear the rest of the story? Because obviously there's a lot more to it, what the product does, how it is impacted, again, the insurance. So it's not necessarily about going to make the purchase, it's more about coming to your site and then clicking on the different videos to learn more about it.
Absolutely. We want to make sure that they first know about our brand, because they can't get our brand unless you know about it. But really driving to the site so that they can experience the full story, so that they have all the information that they need to make a considered decision is really one of our key drivers there. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Well, Sarah, thank you so much. That was awesome.